Hey viewers, I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Maddie.
And we're the Energy Crew.
So, solar energy is light and stuff, right?
Yeah, but there's a whole lot more.
Okay, so solar energy is energy from light and heat. And is that all?
Yeah, but it's also a range of ever-evolving technologies such as solar architecture, artificial photosynthesis, and as you said, solar heating and solar photovoltaics.
That makes sense, but how does the sun have that many possibilities when it only makes light and heat?
Well, the sun releases energy in the form of radiation. This radiation is called the electromagnetic spectrum, and it's used more than you think.
Isn't that what light is measured in?
Yeah, but it's even more than that. The electromagnetic spectrum measures every kind of radiation. On the low end of the spectrum, we have radio waves, which are as large as buildings and are used to receive a radio signal. On the next level up, we have microwaves, which are about the size of a butterfly, and are used in, get this, microwaves. After that, we have infrared, whose waves are the size of the tip of a needle. These are used for motion sensing for games and the military. Then we have...
Ugh, this is really boring. When do we get to the interesting part?
Right now. Next we have visible waves, which are about the size of a single-celled organism, and are what we use to see. These are also used by solar cells to create electricity.
Alright, so how does this conversion happen?
When the light passes through a polycrystalline module, such as silicon, its valence electrons become energized and then become free. These newly energized electrons reach a junction box, where they are accelerated due to the Galvani potential. This potential has an electromagnetic difference, which generates an electromotive force, which then creates electricity.
Huh?
When the light passes through a specific material, these energized particles are then used to create electricity.
That makes more sense, but what kind of specific materials can you use?
I'm glad you asked. There are three main types we use. The first is SIGs, or copper, indium, gallium, selenide, which is a semiconductor with a chalcopyrite crystal structure. This works by drastic decreases in temperature, which creates electricity. These are pretty cool because they're flexible.
So I can cover my clothes with these flexible solar cells?
Well, if you want to shell out a bunch of money, indium and gallium are very rare, which makes them pretty expensive.
Okay, then what are the other types?
Well, the second type is cadmium telluride, which is made of cadmium and tellurium. These are some of the best materials for solar cells, clocking in at an efficiency of 8%.
We should put those on everything.
Unless you're a multi-millionaire, that won't be happening anytime in the near future. Those, unfortunately, are just as expensive as SIGs.
So if those are super expensive, what's the third type?
The third, and by far most popular type, is silicon photovoltaic. This is your typical flat solar panels that you see on roofs, cars, and solar farms. They are the most popular because they're the cheapest.
That's kind of unfortunate, but I guess that makes sense. So is that the only way to use sun for power?
Nope, this isn't the only way to use the power of the sun. The second way is to use solar thermal power.
So is that just like using the sun to heat up things?
Actually, yes. One way to use the sun's thermal energy is to heat water at your home. That way you don't need to heat water and you can save money in your gas and electric bills.
That would be really nice.
Yes, it would. The other way, which is used commercially, is to have an open area and place a large water tank in the middle of it. Then they would put mirrors all around the tank in a large bowl layout. The heat from the mirrors is then focused on the water tank, and the heated water spins a turbine that generates electricity.
Oh, so it does require water. I thought you were just pulling my leg with that one.
No, I was not.
So is America #1 in the solar business?
Actually, we're number 3 at about 7.2% of the world's capacity as of 2012.
That doesn't seem like a lot of electricity.
Well, that's about 7.2 gigawatts, or 7,200,000,000 watts.
Who's #1 then?
Number 1 is Germany at 32 gigawatts, or 32 billion watts. After that is Italy at 16 gigawatts. Number 4 is China at 7 gigawatts, and Japan is number 5 at 6.6 gigawatts.
That's a lot of electricity.
Yes, it is.
Are those the only ways to use the power of the sun?
No, it's not. Be back here next week for our first ever Tech of the Future video.